Sit back and relax while you listen to the Train Kickers podcast. I'm Dave, and along with my co-hosts Dan and Steve, we're going to take you all around the world of miniature wargaming. On tonight's episode, we're going to finish up our introduction to Warhammer 30k, or the Horus Heresy. On the episode, we're going to go through how to build a list, and then we're going to go through a variety of lists for different factions at about 1,000 points to give you a feel for what they may look like. And now, on to the show. All right, gentlemen, and how are you this evening?
I'm doing good. It's actually much more relaxing. I don't know. I feel like it's almost. I always think today is Friday. It's so weird. I know it's Thursday, but I've always
It's
for
Wednesday.
the past 3 weeks. Wait, no, but like tomorrow, I thought was
Okay.
Friday. Is what I'm saying.
I
You know-
thought today was Tuesday. It's bad.
We're all losing our fucking minds.
You're both
We're all
off by
losing our
one day.
collective shits. Oh my god.
Different directions, but you're both off by a day.
It's gonna be fucking summer vacation, and I'm just gonna be like, I'm gonna wake up at 6 in the morning and drive to school. We just lost our collective shits. Oh man.
Well,
How you
Oh,
doing,
boy.
Steve?
You know, I thought it was Tuesday. Oh, wait, hold up. No, it ain't Tuesday. It's Wednesday, which means I'm recording tonight. Uh-oh. Better get home.
Everyone thinks it's the wrong day.
now, I knew what day it was. If I get up early, then it's either Monday or Wednesday, and I've already gotten up very early once this week, so I had to be Wednesday.
So you have a procedure.
Exactly. I know where I'm supposed to be that day. That's the only way I know. But it works.
Oh man.
All right. So if people have any hobby work in progress, we'll do that. We'll only do news if there's anything 30k related. We're going to try to keep the news a little bit more focused on what we're discussing. It also might make the recording just a little bit shorter, which could be potentially good, or it gives these two more time to talk about their lists. But has anyone done anything this week?
I mean, I got 40 bloodletters for $40, which is really good deal.
Purchasing counts.
Hey.
Yeah, because it's like they're $35 for 10. And I put on Facebook finally. I finally took the plunge, and I said, you know what, fuck it, let's start it. And I was like, hey, I'm looking for bloodletters. People, because those are usually the cheapest starting point, and it gives me a good chance to like paint them and see what I like to do. I was like, hey, anyone selling bloodletters? And some guy goes, yeah, I got 40 of them. How does $40 sound? I'm like, $1 per bloodletter? Hell yeah. It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And they're unbuilt too. So I was like, right, new on spruce. So I was like, all right, let's do it.
That's even better. 'Cause
Damn.
a lot of times
I
you might get
know.
cheap, but you get them in pre-loved condition.
No, yeah, they're still they're new on sprue.
All right, very good done.
Yeah,
What
$40? I was like,
what made you decide to go with that corn? Is it part of our Learning 40k
so
series?
again, it was no, it was so it is 30k.
Oh, sorry, 40k. Sorry.
But I could also
My apologies,
use
we've been doing
I
that
could use
on-
it in 40k, and I could also use it in Sigmar. Like, you know, we played our 40k game on Tabletop Simulator with the corn.
Yes,
That
we
was
did.
also one of the reasons. So I could use it 30k, 40k, and also Sigmar. I kept bouncing between Nurgle and Khorne, and the only reason I really like Nurgle was because the Glotkin is something that like I really want to buy and paint, and I wanted a reason to buy Glotkin. But honestly, after the Kabanda model came out, and Luke found me what I can use for the not the Archdemon, which is that fucking dragon from Forge World. Of
Yeah.
course, it's not sold at Forge World anymore, but there are other locations that have access to that. I'll use that as the Archdemon, use Kabanda as Kabanda. So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
All right. All right. Yeah, I mean, there's something always to be said about playing the army that you actually have interest in. You like the Glocken. Okay, if you really want to, you could just buy him. You could buy him. You could paint him up. He could be a piece in a friendly game. Call him whatever you want. You know, if that's your interest, that's fine. But
True. But you know what? Again, like when I saw Kabanda and I saw frickin' the dragon. I didn't even know they produced that dragon model. What's his freaking name? They don't make him anymore. They actually it was like a limited run,
okay.
and of course China got access to it, and now it's no longer a limited run. It was like a $700 model.
Or the smog model?
No. Oh, I probably should have linked this to you before we started, but no,
Yeah.
it's not the smog model. It's
Because that was
I
like a
don't remember his name.
$700
You know, I'll
model.
pull it up right now.
Okay.
It's this huge dragon model. Of course, I have to verify that I'm a human twice now at Forge World. Why? No one knows.
I,
The main GW
because
website
they
doesn't do
know that
that.
you're not.
Yeah, I know. How do I exactly? Jesus. No, so it's this huge dragon. Normally I think, fuck it, what the dragon's not really corn, but this is legitimately a corn dragon. It's a Vorgoroth the Scarred and Skalak the Skull Host of Corn. Um, and here, let me just pop that right there. Um, it's a core, and I'm not even going to use the guy at the top because it's supposed to be a demon's army. So the
Okay.
guy in the top's going to be disappeared, or I could just swap that out for a bloodletter
Mm.
because there's a really cool bloodletter hero that rides on top of a mount that you could just put him right there. But yeah, it's a fucking beautiful model. I had to like YouTube it to see if that's what the model actually looked like, and it's such a corn looking dragon model. And it's like perfect to be an archdemon because archdemons in Horus Heresy are the size of Night Titans essentially, and this thing is massive.
Okay. I'll make sure the image, at least, so if anyone watches this on YouTube, I'm able to throw up the images and everything like that. So I'll make sure that's up there.
Big corn dragon. It's like for the name, people who want to look it up, it's Vorgoroth the Scarred, and then Skalak the Skull Host of Corn, which is the guy on the top. And like I said, just throw away the guy on the top, put a bloodletter there. He's in this thing is mass. It is a massive model.
Could you use the
It's
guy
the
on top for
size of
something
it's
else? How's he
huh?
look? Trying to look at the guy on top. Could you use him for something else?
Not really. Not in a demon's army.
No,
Um,
true. Not in the teams. If you
yeah,
were, yeah, if you were doing just, say in
not in it.
like
But yeah, no, it's
Age of
just it's
Sigmar
such a
sort of thing,
cool.
you could, but yeah, in this, no, you probably can't.
Exactly. And even in Age of Sigmar, I don't like. I don't know. It doesn't make sense that a human's riding the freaking corn dragon. I would still put it like because again they make really cool corn riders on top of like bloodletters. There's actually a special character that does. Um,
Oh,
and so I could take him off.
oh yeah,
And kind of
I thought about that because I would
just
say there is
Herald
some
of
characters
Corn.
writing stuff, but that's not really going to
Yeah.
work because they're not human.
I'll figure it out. I'm a pretty good. But yeah, no. So that whole thing got me started. And so yeah, no, I got 40 bloodletters. I'm trying to look for more bloodletters, some blood crushers. But yeah, no, it's gonna be fun. What about
Mm.
you, Steve? Any hobbying work?
I made some progress on those salamanders. There's an event on Saturday after this recording at Mythicos. Basically, it's like a 1500 point mega battle themed around the Drop Site Massacre. I got my Iron Warriors, but there's always been a traitor bias in New Jersey. So it's like, you know what? Maybe I'll make a loyalist army to loan to someone else. I wouldn't dare play loyalists, but you know. So I got small salamander force. I'm just trying to get done super fast. Play with an airbrush a little bit for that, which was pretty fun. And today I was color matching the Forge World dice. So the army and the dice are like the exact same colors, and I think I got it pretty damn close.
Oh, very nice. I don't know if I've ever. I don't think I've ever tried to match an army to the dice, but that's a not a bad reason to do it. That's for sure.
Right? And like the dice are shiny and metallic. I like shiny objects. Let's give it a try. So yeah.
Very nice. It seems like it's been a pretty quiet week for us then. I know for myself, I haven't actually done too much. Actually earlier today, sat down and decided to start getting more paint on my Marvel Crisis Protocol. So I finished up Mystique. I just finished up Moon Knight. Which I did just the all white scheme, but different gradients of white to add some interest and all, and some cooler blues and the his more creviced pieces and all to try to get a little bit of contrast going. And then currently actually working on Deadpool and Blade. I'm exceptionally far behind on the actual releases, but more of just trying to keep up with what I have. I think I have like 5 or 6 of these left, and then I got to figure out what to paint next. But oh, and I finished all the basing on my Age of Sigmar Cruel Boys because at Maplewood we got some different tufts of grass in. We got it from what is it? I have it here, Gamer's Grass. So I picked up some of the light brown, which goes well
Nice.
with the sort of
Nice.
swamp theme that I have going on. Which it is a lot more convenient than either plopping it down yourself or for some of the other ones I actually would cut it myself to try to get the right heights. which is a lot more of a pain. So this is a nice change. But that's it for me. I haven't done much. But all right. Does that cover hobby, gentlemen?
I believe it does.
Yeah, we're all just too busy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, like I said, is there any actual 30K news? I don't think so. If there is, we'll talk about that. But
Nah, nothing new for this week.
okay.
Yeah.
Do not think so. Okay. Since there's no 30K news, and like I said, we want to try to keep this maybe a little bit more topical to what the system is that we're talking about at the time. We might do something, or at least me, myself, might do something separate at another point to just discuss some other big news that came out. And like I was talking to Dan about how Legion is going to be getting Ewoks at some point in the future, so he's going to have to play that.
God damn it. I'm so fucking mad.
Well, that's going to... You should play online for a bit. Like I said, that'll be the next... Once we finish our Learning 40K series, which we're doing on YouTube, the first video was very rough. The second one, I think, got a lot better. They're just as long.
Funny. It's so fucking funny because it's like, I was like, okay, if they get Ewoks, I'll play, but they got to be troops. And everyone's like, oh yeah, I think Ewoks are going to be troops. I'm like, or not troops, whatever they're called. Essentially, the version of troops. Core.
They're called core.
And I'm just like, fuck. I can do Ewoks and Wookiees. And I'm just like, God, no.
Well, I mean, like I said, if they actually do them as troops, then you'll be covered. If for some reason they don't, you will need troops, but that's just regular guys. So I will talk for a moment what they announced. They're doing what they call battle forces. And what this means is instead of your normal 4-sword chart, you fit this other 4-sword chart that limits you more, but maybe gives you some benefits or gives you some different cards and all. At the moment, when they mentioned Ewoks, they were mentioning that they're going to be fitting one of these 4-sword charts. So I don't know their battlefield role, but it may not matter, because if they make it where, you only bring one troop, or instead of troops, you have to bring 2 or 3 Ewoks, or who knows what when they do Battle of Endor, it may not actually make a difference.
Very true. Very true.
We'll see. Once we're done with our Learning 40K series on TTS, we'll do a Learning Legion, and I can teach you that game and then show it to other people as they want to know. But all right. I think at this point, then we will move back on to the main topic, which is, I think tonight it's how to build a list as the start for Horus Heresy, leading into the various lists that you gentlemen have built.
All right.
Let's do it.
Yeah. I mean, we'll start with Space Marines, I guess, right? I mean, before we even start about Space Marines, we should probably talk about how to actually make an army.
Yeah, it's not the same way as modern 40K.
No, it is not.
It's archaic.
It is. No, it's actually. I actually prefer this way. I actually prefer it this way, believe it or not. It cuts down on the complicatedness. So with 30K, depending on what you play, like Zorn Mortalis does change it. Sometimes the Rites of War will change it, but standard requirement is 1 headquarters and 2 troops. That's your basic you need. You need a headquarters, you need 2 troops. And remember, especially with Space Marines, troops can be a lot of different things. Troops can be normal tactical Marines. They can be veterans. If you're taking a certain rite of war, it can be Terminators. It can be Breacher Marines. Certain rite of wars will even make Bikers troops. Assault Marines are just basic troops as well. So it's not like, I just have a Space Marine squad. There are multiple different things you can do.
It's a lot more than attack squad.
Oh yeah, it's a lot more than attack. I mean, for Christ's sake, just on the top of my head, I'm thinking 8 already.
Oh wow!
Including the Rites of War, 8, right? Terminators, Bikes, Assault Marines, normal Marine, TAC Marines. Do Despoilers count as troops?
No, those are elites. Oh wait, no, sorry, Despoilers. I heard Destroyers. Despoilers are just tactical squads that have chain swords instead of bolters.
And they have rag grenades. But they have rag grenades.
No, that's Destroyers.
Oh, Destroyers, right. Oh, and then you have Breachers. Yeah, Breachers are troops. So
so the main troops are assault squads, tactical squads, and breacher squads. And then as support troop units, which are troops that don't count towards the minimum, but they're still troops, which does matter for things like what is and is not a scoring unit.
Yeah, like objective.
Yeah, that would be tactical support squads, which are like special weapon squads, and recon squads,
Oh,
which are
recon. I
kind of
forgot
like
about
scout.
them.
Yeah, recon squads, they're a thing.
Bro, their point I'm
My
trying to make is
salamanders have them.
one HQ. And no, I'm not even going. I didn't even go into how many choices of HQ you have. You have a metric shit ton of HQ, way more than I'm going to list here. It is
Technically, there's
actually
only two.
no for HQ.
Yes,
Well,
yes, because
okay,
it's the
it is.
Praetor or the Centurion.
Yeah, but the
But the
Centurion can.
Centurion has a million options.
That's exactly the point. You have technically two, but the Centurion can be an apothecary, a librarian, a tech marine, a champion. I mean, he's got like a million options.
The
So
chaplain, he
technically,
could have a personal robot bodyguard.
yes. So I was gonna say
Like,
it is
oh,
technically two
so
choices,
many
but one
options.
of those two choices splits into a fucking million of choices. But yeah,
Hell, he
so
could even have a heavy bolter if you
oh yeah,
make him the
he's insane.
yeah.
So the point is, one HQ, two troops seems very limiting, but if you're playing a small game, that one HQ can literally be fucking anything under the sun. I'm not even opening Battlescribe to see how many goddamn things it is. Um, but yeah, after that, it's a normal FOC. You can bring heavy support up to three. You can bring up to three fast attack. You can bring up to four elites, and you can bring up to six troops. And I think you can bring up to three headquarters. Um, you have a lot of choice, and it does fill up quickly in 3,000. Um, so I mean that's really it for like starting the game. Let's talk about armies, I guess, right? Unless you have something to
Um
add. I can't
I
think of
mean, I
anything else.
guess so. Zone Mortalis, if you're considering Zone Mortalis as a starting point, does have lesser requirements even. The combatant organization chart is literally an HQ and a troop. And the attacker's an HQ and an elite. So you could even get by with less than
Oh yeah,
HQ and two troops, but
yeah.
typically plan for HQ and two troops.
And with the
Um,
list we're gonna give you, honestly, they're very cheap, like very cheap cost wise to start 30K. You'll have two troops anyway. We're our 1,000 point list that we're gonna kind of help people decide on are gonna be for 1,000 are gonna be two troops anyway. All right. Steve, you want to start Marines? Because I got no idea.
yeah, I'll start Marines. So one Marine list that I have that's a pretty classic starter for Heresy is the Pride of the Legion Space Marines list. So you start off with either a Centurion of the Delegatus type or a Praetor. And this points level, it's going to be tight with a Praetor. So you'll probably take the Centurion option. Basically, it's a captain versus chapter master. Stick your captain level guy. Give him an upgrade that basically is a little note that says I could do weird army types because Daddy Primarch says so, and it unlocks your veteran units as troops. So basic Terminators and veteran squads are troops, and then certain Legion specific units also get moved from elites to troops. I play Iron Warriors. We don't have any units that transfer over, and I'm not sure which ones do, but there definitely are some that do. Um, I think Legion specific Terminators that are elites options transfer, if I'm not mistaken. So things like your Fire Drakes or your Phoenix Terminators basically get to make that jump over. And the reason this is such a nice way to start the army is it takes the basic Mark III and Mark IV tactical squad boxes and lets you play with all the toys in that box, and it makes the, I guess, points per dollar ratio a little bit higher than with basic tactical squads. So for this sample 1,000 point list, we've got a Centurion Delegatus in Artificer armor, so not Terminator armor. You'll see why in a reason. We got a Terminator squad of 5 dudes riding around in a Land Raider Phobos, which is the designation of the plastic Land Raider kit. They have 2 squads of 9 veterans and rhinos, armed with whatever you think is fun. If a 9-man squad, you take 1 special or heavy weapon. In a 10-man squad, you could have 2 special weapons or a special and a heavy. any number of guys could take a combi weapon or a power weapon, and you could dial a squad anywhere between 5 models and 10 models. The reason squads with 9 models is because they are riding in rhinos, and rhinos only have capacity 10. And in Horus Heresy, Land Raiders only have capacity 10, and Terminators count as 2 models per. So if your HQ is to do anything besides walk across the table on his own, you gotta leave a little bit of space there in those rhinos. This would probably run about, let's see, 100, 150 to about a $300 army, I would say, roughly. 1,000 points gives you a lot of options to play with. If I had to pick weapons to start, the Terminator boxes come with a single power sword, and then everyone else could either have lightning claws or power fists or chain fists. I would probably do at least 1 chain fist in your squad and a bunch of power fists. Take the power sword just because it's a cheaper option. Don't give it to the sergeant though. Give it to some random guy you're going to kill first. Sergeants with power swords aren't typically a good option because other sergeants could have 2-up saves, and with the challenge system, power swords kind of feel bad right now. Maybe that'll change if a new edition comes out, but at this time, yeah, just give it to a random guy. Veteran squads, I like melta guns, I like plasma guns. You could give the whole squad melta bombs if you want, which makes them exceptional tank hunters. And I think that's pretty much it. Give your Centurion probably a power axe, or keep him super cheap. His main purpose in this list is honestly just to unlock veterans and Terminators as troops.
Oh, that sounds really good, actually. Hell, you want to talk about militia too? Because I've got no idea with militia, like zero
Yeah,
idea.
sure. So I have 2 militia armies ready, prepared to
Oh,
talk about today.
oh, look, okay,
Yes,
okay.
on opposite ends of the body count spectrum. Not that that says much. It's still, squishy humans. But the first militia list I have is a high-tech troopers list. Basically, this is a regiment raised from a world that had a lot of technology surviving from the Dark Age. So you start your army off with the Force Commander, which is literally just a single dude that then takes upgrades that customizes the list. For this list, we're taking Survivors of the Dark Age, which essentially gives every single unit, except for Tech Priests, a +1 to their save values. So everyone that's in flak armor, congratulations, you go from a 5-up save to a 4-up save. And what's hilarious is that anyone in carapace armor moves from a 4-up to a 3-up.
So you could do a sister. So
So
theoretically, you could use Sisters of Battle as your what is it, militia army? Because they're
that's exactly
technically
what I did for this list.
Oh, okay, there
It's
we go. Look at
it
that.
is 25 infantry models. It is the HQ and 2 squads of 12 fighters armed with a pair of melta guns or plasma guns. I think it's the same points, and bolters. So they're running around in power armor, wielding bolters. I mean, there's your nuns with guns, perfectly transferred over. Some other ways you could approach a list like this is to use Necromunda Van Sar models, because they have that more kind of techie edge to them. So, you could argue that, it's super high tech armor that the Imperium, wasn't able to fully replicate before the heresy broke out, and it was lost during the heresy, Or if you want to go third party, the Wargaming Factory Eisenkern models, they got like that big beefy look to them. That could work as the basis for the infantry in this list. And then in support of these 2 troop squads of grenadiers with special weapons, each of those units are 12 models, by the way. We have a 4 model Ogre and Brute squad with power weapons and carapace armor. So the carapace armor gets them to a 3-up save, their toughness 5, they have 3 wounds each, which is an insanely tough stat line in 30k. A captain for Space Marines in 30k only has 2 wounds. Custodians only have 2 wounds and toughness 5. So these models are tougher than Custodians, except they have a worse save and no invulnerable. But hey, can't be perfect at everything. They got power weapons of your choice. And basically, this squad could represent anything from like some like tamed jungle beasts to industrial robots that are repurposed, with welders being sent out to fight, like some sort of weird, durable, tanky, hard hitting melee unit. Personally, I'm a huge fan of ambots for a setup like this from the Necromunda line, because they are so gorgeous. We could also use other games models like conquest models or a larger scale. And I want to say if you got conquest dwarves, they would work great as ogrins in a list like this. And then rounding out this list, we have 2 Leman Russ tanks, armed with your traditional battle cannon, and that's pretty much it. There's a little bit of play. Yeah, there's a little bit of play in the points here. So if you wanted to change around weapons, add some more ogrins, drop an ogrin, and maybe try to squeeze in another squad, upgrade your Leman Russes, this is basic idea of roughly what does 1,000 points look like. That's 25 small infantry, 4 big infantry, 2 tanks.
Nice.
Do you have an idea how much that list would run in order to purchase?
So I want to say it would be 3 boxes of Necromunda Van Sar, which would be about 100 and change.
Okay.
Leman Russes are, oh god, I've not one of those things in 10 years. They're probably $60 or so at this point.
I would assume so, yeah. I don't have it in front of me, but that would be my guess.
So that's another 120.
Or maybe even
so this is probably another like a $350.
It was like most people. It's gonna be 300 to 400.
Okay.
I'm looking at Games Workshop now. That's why.
That's a pretty
if you go
safe.
Third party though, you could get that down a lot.
Oh,
like I think you could get 2 boxes of those Eisenkern to round out the infantry, which would drive down costs probably like $100.
Significant then, absolutely significant.
Oh, definitely. The cool thing about the militia army is that, because the galaxy is so huge and these are all colonies of humanity separated for thousands of years, they're all going to have different technology like offshoots. So you could absolutely use third-party models as long as the scale looks about right and the technology level is something, that fits in at least a little bit. Then you're good.
All right.
Dan, I know you've got a list here that you were very excited about the number of boxes you had to purchase.
All right, what do we do? Custodies, demons, or mech first? Let's do Custodies, because this one's actually the cheapest you can do. Yeah. Surprise, surprise. I'm starting Custodies now. So Custodies are really cool because you only really require 2 things. Now, we're not, the only notch on this one is I am not sure how much the combat patrol box for Custodies will be. I've, upon research of every single combat box that GW has, it looks like it's 140.
140 sounds about right.
Yeah, well, no, every combat box is 140 for GW. So I'm assuming that the Custodies box is going to be 140. So this list, or 1,000 points, will run you about $160 with the additional model. That's it. So essentially, what it is it is one combat patrol box for the Custodies, and I gave Dave the link so that he could show kind of like the picture of what it is.
Yep.
For those who want to look at it, it was released on Warhammer Community on the 10th of January, the 22nd. They released one of the combat patrol boxes for Custodies, and it's essentially 5 custodians. It is 3 bikes and then 2 sets of 5 sisters. So what you do is you first of all turn one of those shield custodians into your shield captain. And that is if you give them the works. So the works usually is you give them digital lasers, you give them melta bombs, and then what you do is you arm them. And this is only you can do this in 30K. Everyone loves this because you can't do this any in 40K. You give him a shield and a spear. He's got a shield and a spear, specifically a Paragon spear. So that's 250 points right there out of 1,000. They're very expensive. The other 4 custodian guard get converted to, well, Custodian Guard. Now I did I did 3 spears and a Vexilla. You can do shields if you want, and a Vexilla, but I just did spears because whatever. But 3 spears and a Vexilla right there, that's 240 points. The 2 sister squads get turned into so I prefer the blades because I think they look absolutely amazing. Um, but for sake of 1,000 points, I turn them into blades. So 2 sets of 5 execution blade squads, 85 points pop. And then you get 2 sets of, or you get sorry, not 2 sets. You get 3 bikes in the box, which is your jet bike squadron Agamatus. And then so that's 1 box right there, which only actually brings you to about 885 points. So you might be saying, well, why are you 150 points down? Well, I gave Dave this link as well on eBay. What I figured out, and I did this before she went up in price, but now she's still the same price. If you want a Sister of Silence HQ and you don't want to convert one of the ones that come in the box, because the big problem with GW is they sell you 5 sisters, but if you want to convert one of those to an HQ, now you have 4, and that's an odd number. You can't make a squad out of 4. So what I've done, and what a couple of other people have done, is they looked for Imelda Braskoff, who's a Cursed City character, right? And essentially you take Imelda Braskoff, right? She's like 3 pieces. You don't attach the head, and the Sisters box comes with 10 heads for 5 models. So you use one of the Sister of Silence heads for Imelda Braskoff, and she legitimately looks like a Sister of Silence. She's got the fur, she's got the eagle head on the top, she's got the cloak, she's got the sword. She legitimately looks like a Sister of Silence with the head on. So $140 plus, let's say $20 for Imelda Braskoff, even though it says 15 or 18 in eBay, but whatever. You're looking at what, $180 for a 1,000-point army. You really can't get better than that.
That's very cheap for honestly any war game.
Yeah, no, this is the Custodies will be actually, funny enough, Demons right now is also going to be super cheap in a second. Not as cheap, but still cheap. But Custodies have a big bang for their buck almost all the time. Demons. So this one was a lot of fun because, again, we mentioned this in the last podcast. Demons literally is, here's a base size, do whatever the hell you want. So you can literally use third-party models or whatever demon models you think fit and stick them on a 32 mil base. There's I'm going to shout him out on Instagram real quick because I love following stuff. There's a wonderful Instagram dude named Gobble_INZ. So I think it's like Goblins. I think that's what it's supposed to be, like a play off words. But it's basically gobble and then ins, right? And so Gobble_INZ. And he does these he has this wonderful Nurgle army. And I don't know what the hell he used for his little swarm demons, but they're the cutest goddamn. Oh, they're out of print. I'm reading this. Oh, man. They're so cute. And by cute, I mean absolutely horrifying. I never want to touch them. But his Demon's Army has a bunch of proxies from Creature Caster and this and that and odd nubbins. He has a 3D printed, what the hell is this guy called? Asmodan from Diablo? Is Asmodan the big crab-like guy with like the mouth and the belly? I don't know whoever plays Diablo. But he's got like a huge 3D printed Asmodan that he uses. Yeah. That he uses for.
I don't know.
But it's just a point is you can use anything. But in the sake of buying GW, I did a GW list. So I went with Khorne. I was going to go with Nurgle, but then I realized there's no actual box for Nurgle to cut down on cost. They have Slaanesh, they have Tzeentch, and they have Khorne, they don't have Nurgle. I don't know why, but I don't know. So what you do is you literally buy. Now I'm going to also warn you one more time.
Wouldn't
what? There is?
Well, in Age of Sigmar, there's Maggotkin of Nurgle. Are those all demons?
I checked. There's no box.
No, Maggotkin and Nurgle have a box.
Unless they removed it from the website.
You go do what you're doing. I'm going to take a look. I could have swore they did.
Yeah, I'll talk about the Khorne one, but I swear to God I checked.
All right, I'll take a look.
I know, maybe it didn't. Oh, that'd be funny if there is. So essentially what you do is you buy 2 of the Khorne start collecting boxes. Now I'm going to warn people ahead of time. This actually brings you above 1,000 points. If you want to use all the models in both start collecting boxes. This will actually run you over 1,000 points, depending on what upgrades you give. But just to tell you, I think I made like 1,085 points. Literally just remove some bloodletters and you're at 1,000. So you literally take 2 of those boxes. That gives you 2 sets of 10 bloodletters, which are not called bloodletters. They're lesser demons. You get brass collars, crushing claws. It gives you 6 cavalry. So those are your blood crushers. It gives you 2 demon shrikes, which are your cannons, right? That's the cannon that comes in the box. And then you just buy yourself one of the what the hell is he called? Skull Taker? Man, I had him up. I swear, there he is. You buy yourself like a really cool bloodletter champion. I want to say his name was Skull Taker. Did he? Oh no, yeah. You buy yourself Skull Taker because he looks freaking awesome. So that's what 90 or 80, 80, and 36. So 196. And again, you could get that probably cheaper if you look at like stores that give 20% off. But like 196 for a 1,000, a little higher than 1,000 point army, not bad again. Very good bang for your buck. Very good bang for your buck, in my opinion. Dave, did you find Magikin or?
Yeah,
is
so
that a no-no?
looking it up, there were Magikin boxes. So there was an original Magikin box that you honestly can't find anymore, but they do have a current one. The reason you might not have noticed, they might not call it start collecting. It's called a Vanguard box.
Oh, for Christ's sake!
Yeah, because they just got their codex last couple months.
Yeah.
So
Stupid
it's
question. What is it called?
Vanguard Magotkin of Nurgle. It has a
Oh my
Spoilpox
God.
Scrivener in it, 10 Plague
Wizard's
Bearers,
got-
5
Oh, yeah.
Blight
Well-
Kings, 2 Puzalog Blight Lords.
So, fun fact: looking at this will also run you 1,000 points because in the back, those are 2 Shrikes. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you could have 2 5-man units of lesser demons, which are the 2 plague bearers. You have your HQ right there, which can be a magician, and those guys on the 40 mil bases. If I'm not sure if they're 40 or 50 mil. Oh, here we are. They're 40 mil. Those are brutes. So honestly, this is 1,000 points right here too. You know what I mean? So good. I didn't know that, but that one's 125. But yeah, it'll be cheaper. This one will be cheaper by a lot. Perfect. I didn't even see that. Thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah, no problem. Because I know they just got their codex. They were one of I'm pretty sure the most
Yeah,
recent codex.
I swear to God, I was looking and I was like, yeah, but this will run you 1,000 points. Especially again, you can make that hero right there in the center be around like custodian level points at like 250. Just because he could sling magic around. But yeah, no, just fun stuff, honestly, with demons. You can, but again, demons are the rare case where you can literally buy anything, stick it on whatever on the size base they tell you, and it's a demon. So there it is. And the last one I'll go over. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
So Dan, could you explain to us how these units work? I guess because demons work differently from everything else.
Yeah, so
in terms
demons
of that.
are super weird.
So when you say it's like a bloodletter, so what does that translate?
Yeah, so let me explain. So I'll give you the quick because we didn't really talk about armies or anything. Demons are kind of weird because first of all, you have to choose one of the 4.
5.
Yeah,
dominions.
5. Oh, sorry. Yes, one of the 5 realms essentially. And it's funny because again, they're not named Khorne, Nurgle, Tzeentch, Slaanesh, and Unbound, which is the 5th one. But they are Khorne, Nurgle, Tzeentch. Like they aren't named it because they don't know what it is in 30K, but it is.
Now, when you say
and
Unbound,
when you build,
is that essentially mean like undivided, like you would have in Sigmar?
Yes, essentially. Okay. You can mix it. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's Resplendent Terror, which is essentially your that's your unbound, like your undivided.
Yeah. Undivided.
There's Crimson Fury, which is no surprise Khorne.
Yeah.
We have Creeping Scourge. That's would be your Nurgle one. We have Lurid Onslaught,
which
Slaanesh. Is your Slaanesh. We have the Maddening Swarms, which is our Tzeentch. And last but not least, possibly everyone's favorite, Mirror of Hatred.
So this is Mirror of Hatred no one ever takes because this only works against
anti-demons.
It's anti-demon. It only works against demons. So 5, possibly 6. And what you do is when you build your army, let's say I choose, for example, I chose Crimson, oh my God, Crimson Scourge. No, that's not what it's called. Damn
Crimson
it.
Fury.
Crimson Fury. I chose Crimson Fury, right? When you purchase your units, you'll notice the list of purchased units is very small. Your troops are lesser demons, beasts, swarms. Your HQs are named demons, and then there's a greater demon. They have no names to them. But what happens is when you choose your troop unit, for example, your lesser demons, right? You can choose between. I don't even want to count this. 1, 2, 7. I'm gonna get. There are over 15 customizations you can do for your lesser demons, but you can only choose up to 2. So, for example, because I'm Corn, or you could, sorry, you can only choose up to 1. Because I'm Corn, I take brass collars for free. That doesn't count as a choice, right? So then, on top of that, I took crushing claws. So now all of their blades are rending because they want to be close combat. But let's say I'm playing Nurgle or the Creeping Scourge. You get another upgrade for free, and then you could choose something else on top of it. And so they become completely customizable to what you want to do. It's almost like they are completely a blank slate, and you kind of tell them what you want them to do. So for example, a Shrike, it is a flying demon. That's all it is. They don't give you anything. It's a flying demon. But I can give it,
base.
yeah,
So it's
I
like
can
roughly
give
like
it,
Carnifex sized.
yeah, but I
Or
can give it a
Demon
gun.
Prince
I
sized.
can give it
Yeah.
a one-shot gun that's strength 9 armor bane. Or I can make it into a monster where it has AP2 and I can reroll wounds, just shred. Or I can make it fly around and do magic shit. Who knows? Like it's such a customizable list that you can literally. It's one of the. I dare say it's one of the more fun lists to build because you can quite literally do anything with it. Like I said, I chose Corn. You could just as easily choose Nurgle, Slanesh, or Unbound and go nuts.
Or just do your own thing, which is
Or do your own
extra
thing. Yeah,
cool.
exactly.
Like
It's one of those again, it's one of those weird armies where here is the base size. Here are the 25 plus upgrades you can give to your whole arm, not your whole army, every unit for your army. Enjoy. Like it's pretty nuts, but it's also pretty fun. Dave, do you have a question before I go to Mechanicum?
No. Go ahead. I
Yeah.
think there
Another
was at
thing,
one
Or
point I think a
Steve, yeah.
box for
Mhm.
Slanesh as well. I don't know if they currently have one, but they did at one
No, there's
point.
a Slanesh one. I
Yeah.
did check that one.
Okay.
Yeah, there is a
Yeah,
Slanesh one.
so
Weirdly enough, it's called
another
the
thing to know is that
Demons of Slanesh.
Slanesh one, yeah. He Knights of Slanesh, yeah. Another thing to know about demons is that they don't deploy like normal armies. So like old school chaos demons, like old school, they always deep strike into the table, except they don't deep strike. They set up these 5-inch templates of impassable terrain that represent warp rifts, and that becomes the table edge they walk on from whenever they arrive from reserves.
Yeah.
The units that do not start in reserves are your brutes, so you always want to have some brutes in your list, or else you might lose just by not showing up.
Yeah.
And you also can take as a troops unit possessed, which, as we mentioned last episode, represent like reanimated corpses, just like basic people that have their will lost. It's not like 40k possessed. It's like, oh, here's a space marine and he's half demon, and oh, that's so cool. It's more like Doom possessed,
Yes.
and those also start on the table. And what's cool is that if they get destroyed, they don't give up victory points
Oh, they don't
for
because
their
they're so
destruction.
stupid.
Yeah, there's literally just trash units just to fill up space. So it plays differently from other
Yeah.
armies. People aren't always ready for it. Their basic demons have 2 wounds each, which, like I mentioned before, is insanely tough. Because this game revolves around 1 wound Space Marines, and a bolter does only 1 damage.
This isn't 40k.
Yeah.
They're a very hard army to play. I will point that out because of all their special rules, and they kind of break a lot of the deployment rules. But if you're looking for an army that you just kind of want to fight, you know what it reminds me of? Off like a little off tangent. It reminds me of remember Tyranids back in fourth edition when you can give like your Gaunts a hive node, or you can give
Yup.
like yeah. Do you remember
You're
like
thinking
so
third edition.
was that third? I
You could
still have the
literally
codex.
design
It's
a
in my bookshelf.
Tyranid.
I still have that black. It's a black booked
Yep.
codex, right, with the Tyranids. Yeah,
Yep.
I still have that
There were
codex.
two versions of that book, by the way, with different
Oh,
like border designs for the cover.
oh, I did not. It's the one with the gaunt. It's like a black and red gaunt and
No,
warrior in the front.
yeah. I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically at some point in third edition they changed the design for like the Warhammer logo, well, for the Tyranids
Uh,
logo on the top. So one of them is
interesting.
like a Tyranid, one of them is like, the Imperial
I'll have to
Eagle.
check it out. I'll put it on the bookshelf eventually one day. But yeah, no. So that's what it is. It's if anyone remembers Tyranids in third or fourth edition, where they can customize their gaunts for like percentages of points. That's what it's like. It's a very, very customizable army. And so the hardness to start the army doesn't come from like, yeah, it is kind of difficult to play and play against, but it's also like, oh my God, you have this many options in front of you. What do you do?
What do I
Yeah,
do?
no,
Yeah.
you're literally spoiled for choice, is the funny part.
Yeah. And before you get into Mechanicum, I want to do one last army,
Go ahead. Yeah,
if you
go
don't
ahead.
mind. So I
No,
have another militia army to
oh, oh,
propose.
oh, hello.
This one is the Feudal Regiment or the Cultist Horde build. So you have your force commander like earlier. So you're just a dude that takes the upgrades that then apply to the entire army. For this build, he has Feral Warriors and Warrior Elite. What those two do is they improve your weapon skill, and they literally just like, hey, here's an attack for everything. It's kind of insane. Um, and then you have an Ogre and Brute Squad with power weapons again. This one we're not upgrading the armor on, so they're just big, beefy, but squishy guys. So like something like this, I imagine like trolls or something to that effect, or like ogres. Um, and then the troops units. We have two infantry squads. Each of these is a 20-man unit, and they're going to trade in their las guns for an additional melee weapon. So they have two melee weapons, which in Heresy gives you an additional attack. So we're up to like 4 attacks per model, I think. We have two squads of that, so that's 40 guys just running and screaming across the table. And then we have a squad of 30 conscripts, essentially, a levy squad, also just decked out with melee weapons, running and screaming across the table. And for our fire support, we have a 6-man squad of las cannons. It's 1,000 points. It is 71 basic infantry, 6 weapons teams, and like 3 or 4 like ogrins.
That's so
You do
many
not use Games
models.
Workshop models for. You do not use Games Workshop models for lists like this. My
No.
suggestion is to get some Perry's miniatures boxes. What's really cool is that their like historical ranges, when you put them next to a Space Marine, it looks right because they're small, weedy humans next to like a 40k guard. It's like, wow, that model's really lanky. Next to a Space Marine's like, yeah, that makes sense, because Space Marines are huge and bulky, and these guys are kind of skinny. So you get
Games Workshop doesn't do human models very well. They do Space Marines models very well, but their
Lord
human
of the
models are
Rings
so out of.
actually. Fun fact: the Lord of the Rings line, like the old plastic one, was sculpted by the Perry brothers, which is
Really?
why the
That's a
proportions
fun
are
fact.
similar
Oh,
between
okay.
the two. Yeah, same artists. So you can also use Lord of the Rings models for this because if you're stuck Games Workshop, they're a slightly better dollar per model point, I think. But yeah, no, Perry miniatures are less than $1 per model, I think. You get like 36 in a box. So you get 2 boxes. There's all your basic infantry. You pick up 6 las cannon teams. Did I put Sentinels in this? I might have put Sentinels in this and forgot to write it
Oh no,
down.
you did. I'm looking at it.
Yeah. Yeah, squad of 3 Sentinels because the minimum size squad is 3. But for this, you don't necessarily have to do Sentinels. You could do, any sort of mech or something like your Feudal Guard with attached mech unit from elsewhere. It's just a funny army, I think.
So,
And if you get Games Workshop Sentinels and weapon squads, there's probably be like a $200 army to run.
so I'm
With
looking on Perry Miniatures website. What box do you think actually works well for it? Because it does seem like a lot of theirs are more historical. Like I'm seeing Prussians and
Yes,
English. Is there a particular one that people should look at if they're thinking
exactly.
this?
So something I was considering is getting like towards the top of the page, look at their plastic box sets
Yeah, that's what
page.
I'm in right now.
Like the English Army box, Agincourt French Infantry, Agincourt, like any of these infantry boxes would honestly look fine. If you go down a little bit,
Yeah.
WR20 Plastic Mercenaries. This is honestly perfect because it has pikes, it has gunners, so you could have some squads with their what's it called? Auxilia rifles is what they're armed with, which could be anything from crossbows to
Muskets.
black powder
It's
weapons,
it's
muskets,
muskets.
exactly.
They're armed with literally
Yeah, it's
muskets in the
muskets.
41st millennium.
Somehow they found a way to make a gun worse than a las gun without making it strength 2. It's incredible. Yeah,
Hey, muskets
like
were
literally
powerful.
any 2 infantry boxes, maybe 3 if it's like a smaller infantry box. I don't know if they have any smaller ones. Would work.
I mean, it's a lot of models.
One of the things
that.
I've been really, really tempted to do.
Yeah. So for that,
Yeah.
the WR20.
Actually, hell, you could get 2 Civil War artillery sets.
Yeah.
Get 2 Civil War artillery sets, and there's your las cannons too. Just need to get bases for them.
Yeah, that box it's 40 miniatures for essentially 17 pounds. It's 1667, but 17 pounds, let's call it.
Yeah. And that
Not sure what it would
like
translating and shipping is
it's
going to
like
make it a little bit higher, but still
30
cheaper.
bucks.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
you'd have
like
to buy the
25, 30
bases,
less
but
than
bases are
$1
also
a
super
mini.
cheap. You have to buy bases, but bases are also super cheap, which is great.
Yeah.
No, this is actually a pretty good idea. I like this. I would never run
This
militia.
stuff looks
but
great next to Space Marines because they make Space Marines look like proper Space Marines.
because they're actually sized humans. They're like it's Infinity. They actually look like actual humans.
They're not the swole as hell Cadians or even more swole Catechins. Like, I'm pretty sure a Catechin could bench press a Space Marine.
Do you
Like,
even live?
It's that bad. It's that bad.
Cadia broke before the Cadians' back did.
Yeah. So
Oh my
honestly,
God.
I think Perry miniatures would be a great way to do a low-tech guard regiment.
Yeah, I should point out that this is
they
this
discontinued
30K
the
army.
Empire for fantasy. Yeah.
This 30K army, the militia army, is supposed to be a low tech, or I should also you could also use beastmen, by the way, as well.
Yes.
Beastmen were present during the 30K. They were extremely mutated humans.
So the Davinites are a great example of beastmen, I think.
Yeah,
From
so you
book 2 of the Heresy.
Yeah,
like
so you
the
could
novel
definitely
series.
You can definitely get some beastmen if you like the look of beastmen and just stick them on a bait. You know what I mean? So completely like the militia army, very much like demons, is very cool because you could kind of shop around. Yeah.
I might build this army. I have a lot of Perry miniatures in the corner waiting for love.
You just gotta
Oh,
paint
the
them.
temptation.
I think
Well, if I borrow the store airbrush.
Yeah.
Oh yes,
There you
your
go.
last list.
Well, hold on. We did Marines, Custodies, Militia, Demons. I think that's it. And yeah, last is Mechanicum. Now, I will say that I am slightly upset. Mechanicum used to have, and this is back in the day when I bought them, they used to have a box set that actually took off like $70 off of the models, off of buying every individual model. It was a fucking fantastic set. It came with a Dominus. It came with 2 Castellans. Castellax, sorry. It came with 6 Thalax, which are the troops, and it came with a Thanatar. Normally, I was pricing it out right now. That would be like a $300, $400 army. They sold it for about 250 pounds, so about $300. So it was an excellent deal. Why they got rid of it, I have no fucking idea.
Probably too good of a deal.
It's probably too good of a deal. But even Titanicus box sets are an excellent deal. So I don't know why they would. Anyway, listen, I'm not going to diss it. So this will be the most expensive. This will run you $356, not including the headquarters. So that's you can buy. By the way, I should point out again with Mechanicum. I know we mentioned this last time in the last podcast. You literally can buy any 40K mechanic Dominus model, and it'll work in 30K. In fact, I was looking at the Dominus models in Games Workshop for Mechanicum, and there's this stupid God, I hate him so much, but I love how stupid it is.
Is
It's
it the guy picking his nose?
is it the guy floating, right? The
The
guy
guy
picking his
picking his
nose.
nose, yeah.
Yeah, oh my God. I don't know why I like that model. It's so fucking dumb, but I want it so much. Tech Priest Manipulus? God, it's so dumb. But it's so good. Oh man. Okay. Anyway, let me move on. So it's 300. What did I say? It's 356 without the tech pre. So that's 35. So then let me add that real quick. So this is $391, $400. I should point out though it is $400 and you get two extra models out of it. You get two extra models that you don't need in the 1,000 points. So technically, again, this is another 1,000 plus list. So basically, the list is, or first let me talk about what you buy. So basically, all you need to buy from Forge World is two Castle Axes. I did it with Dark Fire Cannons because they're better. So two Castle Axes with Dark Fire Cannons, two sets of the three Thalax with Phase Plasma Fusel, and this is the one where you get extra, the Vorax Battle Automata, which are my favorite. I love Vorax so much. I think Steve does too. The Battle
They're my
Chickens.
absolute. I love.
I love them.
They look amazing.
This is
I think
probably
there's more as like praying mantis robots.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. So these are Battle Chickens. You're looking at them now, Dave. Is that why?
No, I know that one. Yeah, no, I'm aware of what those models are. I've looked at them in the
They
past.
are my favorite model in probably all of the Mechanicum range, next to Myrmidons. I don't. They just look so fucking cool. But anyway, and that's the one where you get extra. You only need one of them in the 1,000 point list, but you get two more. It comes in a box of 3, so there we go. Now you have 1,000 plus points for $400, which is actually not bad now that I think about it. Because how much was the Space Marine one, Steve? 400 as well, around.
It was like 3 and change, I think.
Okay, so this is a little bit more, and you get really cool looking models, to be quite honest. So the list is essentially. Oh, good.
It is resin, though.
Well, except for the HQ.
I don't.
Yes,
I don't mind working Forge World resin, but for some people, it's a huge turnoff. So
that is true. So this would all be resin. I will say that since I bought this was actually little story to my heart here. This was my first Horus Heresy army. I went all into Horus Heresy back in 2014. When again, this is when they had the Mechanicum box set. This is when I sold my White Scars. I had a White Scar Horus Heresy army. It was I think Dave remembers it. Remember I had Brett paint it? Yeah, it was 60 bikes, Outrider bikes from Forge World, 20 Tactical Marines, 20 Assault Marines with all old armor. We're talking Mark II, Mark I armor. Steve just cried a little on the inside. It was 40 Marines with Mark II or Mark I armor. I sold it for like $500, $600. And I used that money. Oh, I know, Steve. He has 60 Outrider bikes, Steve. Or it was either 40 or 60 Outrider bikes. That alone is $600.
Did they hold you at gunpoint?
There was also a Land Raider Spartan in there. There were 2 Storm Eagles. I used Thud guns as Thunderfire cannons because I also used it for 40k. I had 20 Terminators. Yeah. It was $600, $800. I can't remember. Oh, 2 Damocles. I had rhinos for everything. Yeah. $600, $800. Point is, I funded that. I funded my entire Mechanicum army with that. My entire Mechanic army that I own. It's like 12,000 points. That entirely got funded into Mechanicum. So I will say the point I was trying to make here is this was my first army that I worked with resin for the first time heavily. Even though the Outrider, but the Space Marines were also resin. But this was like Findlay resin, and I actually didn't mind it. The pieces are big enough that you don't need a lot of like cleaning. There were really no bended pieces. Maybe the Darkfire cannon was a little bended because it's such a long gun. The biggest issue I had was the fucking cables that you had to heat up and bend. That was the only thing where I was, oh my God, I hated that with a passion.
The worst are the ammo feeds for the Vorax.
Yeah, I was just going to get there. The ammo feeds for the Vorax. It was awful. But I dare say this is probably the sexiest looking army in all of Forge World. The Mechanicum models are some of the most beautiful, next to Custodies. And I mean, this probably me being biased, but it is some of the sexiest. Anyway, so get to the models. So you buy, the list is as follows. First of all, you have a Magos Prime. This is your normal dude. I armed him. You can buy anyone from Games Workshop if you want. This guy's got an Abeyant. He's the Archmagos Prime. He's got a 3-up invulnerable. He's got a Cortex controller. So the Cortex controller is really important so he can join the robots. If without it, he can't join them. He's got he's got a chain fist, a power fist. The reason you take, by the way, the combo is that he gets +1 attack. It's the cheapest way to get +1 attack. And I gave him Malagra, which basically means he's a character hunter. He gets super buffed when he's near enemy characters. So it can be a sergeant of a squad, by the way, is an enemy character. Yeah, so that's just your Magus Play. 285 points, a good chunky dude. He's what? Toughness. Let me see here. Toughness 6. Yeah, toughness 6, 4 wounds. 3 becomes 4 attacks at strength 8 with a chain fist. Yeah, no, he's a beefy dude. You know what I mean? He's a good dude. Weapon skill 5. Yeah. 2-up save, 3-up invulnerable. Pretty damn beefy dude. Then you get 2 of orders of the Castellax. Like I said, I ordered the Dark Fire Cannons because it does provide you some anti-tank and also some anti-terminator. Then you take 2 Thalax. I did the Plasma Fusel, only because the Plasma Fusel is really fun. I actually don't own any Plasma Fusel, funny enough. I just take the big close combat ones. But yeah, Plasma Fusel is basically a 3-shot plasma gun that doesn't get hot. Take it.
But it's only AP3.
Yeah, well, you only need
Terminators
against
don't
Marines.
care, but it's gonna shred basic Marines.
Yes, it'll shred basic Marines, but that's why you have Darkfire Cannons. And then I took the 1 Vorax, and I gave him all the curmudgeons. I gave him Paragon of Metal, so that means he can. What's really cool about Mechanicum is your big metal dudes, your big robots. If they're not near someone, they become Tyranids. No, kind of they do actually. They go back to their like programming, which is really cool because you have to like they do certain things if you're not near some guy with a cybernetic cortex. Now
it's basically the Synapse network.
Yeah, it's essentially that. Now the Magos Prime is stuck with the Castellax, so he's always there. But the Vorax can outflank. So what you do is the little cool trick is you can outflank him, coming from the side, and he's armed with basically rotor cannons, which is, I mean, this rotor cannons. They're many shots. Let me see. It's armed with 2 rotor cannons. Sorry. 4 shots. So it's 8 shots.
So it's 8. Yep, 8 rotor cannons.
And it's poison 4+. I gave him some biocorrosive ammunition, so he's always wounded on a 4+ because it's only strength 3. So, but it's 8 shots. Wounded on a 3. He's also got a lightning gun, which is strength 7, heavy 1, shred and rending. But the big thing with him is you don't want him to shoot. He outflanked. He's out of range. So what's he going to do? He's going to try to charge the nearest dude, and he does shred. He's got initiative 5 normally, 4 attacks, 5 on the charge. He's a monstrous creature. Like it's what, toughness 6, 3 wounds. Now, mind you, he doesn't have an invulnerable save, so if he gets shot by plasma, he goes bye-bye.
He only has 4-up armor as well.
He's got a 4-up armor. Anything
also,
point of heavy bolters will kill him.
Point of clarification: he's only initiative 4. The reason he's initiative 5 when you run him is you play Cybernetica.
I run Cybernetica. You're right. He's only initiative 4.
However, this list does work for either Cybernetica or Tog.
I should point out, yes, I go to point out this. Oh yeah, it does because I took 2 battle automata. So it does this. Hey, look at that. You could run this Cybernetica as well. Look at that. Yeah. So, like I said, it's how much did I say the cost was? $391. So $400. But you get some pretty cool models, and it's a good starting point for Mechanicum. Mechanicum units are funny because they run as cheap as the Imperial Guard or Militia, and they can run as expensive as the Domitar. The Domitar is this big walking battle automata with basically robot fists of fury. Those motherfuckers are 175 points a pop. So
they're roughly equivalent to an armiger, I want to say, like size.
Oh no, they have their armigers. No, size-wise, they're not called an armiger.
I'm trying to explain like the size of a Domitar. Like
no, it's not an armiger. I have it right next to. Hold on. It's about the size of between a Contemptor and a Telemon.
So that'll help for anyone who does Custodies stuff.
Model.
Yeah. Well, no. Okay. So, no. Normal Contemptor. Just any Contemptor.
Okay.
So it's about a 4-inch tall model then.
I give it to 4 to 5. I give it 4 to 5.
Okay.
I give it 4 to 5. Yeah, but those are 175 points pop. So you freaking stick 4 of those in your list. That's 1,000. Not 1,000 points, but that's a heavy amount of points right there. So yeah, it can get really expensive with Merman. So it's another list where you don't have to spend a lot of money to get to the 2,000, the 3,000. Or you could spend a lot of money because you could take a bunch of puny dudes. But then again, Perry miniatures. you could use Perry miniatures for your
convert stuff. So I have
Yeah.
a small mechanical army that's probably around 1,000 points. And I did flush out the cash for Vorax and a squad of Thalax because they're so pretty and I love them.
Yeah, they're
But
pretty.
my core infantry are actually conversions I did to a box of Skaven. What are like the stormtrooper ones? The storm vermin.
Stormwind, yeah.
Skaven storm vermin. I swapped out their heads for Skitarii heads, and I added some cables, took off the tails, and those are my tech thralls.
Yeah.
So I have 2 units of those.
Yeah.
They got a bunch of upgrades, which makes them hilariously good at killing Space Marines. Because what you do is you pair them with a Magos that debuffs the Space Marines' toughness, and then the Thralls will be hitting the Space Marines so hard they cause instant death. So all of a sudden, that super cool captain misses that one save he makes, and
Dies
he
to a
gets
servitor.
squished by
It dies to a servitor.
like a 2-point servitor. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's absolutely hilarious. And then for the HQ, it's the plastic models. One thing I started work I never finished was I was turning some of the Age of Sigmar. I don't even know what you would call them. The glaive wraiths, like the horse skull ghost things.
I've had no idea.
Taking those, teching them up, and those are my Silax, which are another troops unit, and those are like a Space Marine equivalent, roughly. Like they have a Volter, they have a melee weapon, and they could upgrade to like a plasma gun or a melted gun and things like that.
I was going to say, I should point out, you can also just use Skitarii. If you own Skitarii Vanguards or Skitarii Rangers, those are... First of all, I should point out, Forge World does have Skitarii units, which are your Skitarii Hoplites and Skitarii Peltasts. So the Hoplites are not going to be able to proxy because Hoplites literally have a spear and a shield, but the Peltasts have a cut-off radium carbine, which is looks like a GW radium carbine with the thing cut off, the barrel cut off. Right? It's literally what it is.
So they have options for radium carbine, or I think that's like a concussion something or other. I don't have the book in front of me right now.
Not so far
but
away from me.
The gun is so good.
Yeah, and you can if you have Skitarii,
the gun is so good.
You play Mechanicus in 40k, and you have Skitarii because Skitarii you need sometimes when you play. You could literally that now you can ignore taking troops. You could fill it out with like big boy robots. So yeah, one of the very few things that transfers over is besides the HQs, but because it transfers over, it's one of the more cost effective things that transfer over, which is nice. I think that's it. Mechanica.
So a couple armies we did not touch on would be Solar Auxilia.
Oh yeah.
And Imperial Knights.
So
and then the fan books. But.
So first of all, Solar Auxilia. I'll tell you the reason why I didn't want to touch it. I do love Solar Auxilia, and I could make a Solar Auxilia list. The problem is Solar Auxilia are your advanced guardsmen. These are guardsmen that look and should look more power armory-ish. The problem with that is if you're going to do a Solar Auxilia list, there is no cheap way to do it. So what I was doing, I was talking with Steve about this before we started the podcast last time. The closest 40k equivalent to Solar Auxilia are your Militarum Tempestus, right? But a box of or the Scions, as well as the Signs as well. But the Tempestus Signs, either one are your kind of advanced looking dudes. The problem here is that a box of 10 dudes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
Forge World.
10 motherfucking dudes. No, this is just Games Workshop. I didn't even look at Forge World. 10 motherfucking dudes. and a tank and that you can't even use in 30K is $95.
Ooh,
All right.
that hurts.
It's 70 for 2 boxes of dudes, I think, because it's a 5-man squads for 35
Oh, no, I was
bucks.
just looking at I was looking at the Tempestus Scion, like start
Yeah,
collecting.
don't bother to start collecting. Don't even think about start collecting. It's
Yeah,
literally
that's
a
so
tank you don't
even
use.
so it's $70
And a
for a unit of
Domitar.
10, even if. So I looked at Forge World, I was like, okay, maybe they're cheaper in Forge. Maybe there's one of those rare occasions where Forge World is actually cheaper. And ironically it is. Forge World also have like them the bucket heads, I like to call them lovingly, because they have the little buckets on their head. I don't know what they do. Um
They're
and so for
basically space scuba divers.
yeah, space scuba, shut up. But for a box of what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, it's a box of 20. Oh, it's actually a box of 20 is 123. So that's what? 61-ish?
It's like 40 bucks less.
Yeah,
I
that's
think.
actually so wow. So yeah, how much did the pesticides again? They were
It was
what?
70 for 10.
So it's 100
It would
for
be
wow.
140
Yeah.
for 20.
So ironically, this is gonna wow, oh my god, don't tell Forge World this, by the way. don't fucking tell Forge World this. Apparently, it is cheaper to buy
It's
troops from Forge World than from Games Workshop. What
yeah.
the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah.
That
But,
is
if you're
hilariously weird.
crafty, I could see you using some plate armor historical miniatures if you wanted to convert an army
Well,
yourself.
what do we come? Oh no! Remember what we found last time? The Dream. So for those who really want
Yep.
Dreamforge Games,
They are
right?
defunct. It's now
Oh, that's right. We talked about this.
War Games Atlantic owns the molds now, I believe.
Yeah, it is War Games Atlantic. Yeah.
Yep.
So if you go to wargamesatlantic.com and you click on what was it called? Iron Core? Was it Iron Core? Yes. And you click on Iron Core, you can get let me see here, which they're both the same price. How many come in the box? 20. You can get 20 troops for $34. 20
Sounds
troops
like
for
that
They
wins.
definitely
$34.
fit the style.
Yeah. And they
Yeah.
definitely fit they 100% fit the style.
And if you have a 3D printer, there are files out there for this thing called the Lunar Auxilia, which is shockingly a great stand-in for Solar Auxilia.
Oh, by the way, cool, fun fact: you get discounts from War Games Atlantic if you
Oh
buy
yeah,
more. So, so let's see here. It's
60 for
20.
$100,
So yeah, 20,
or
40, 60.
100 for 150.
100 for 150 is not bad, actually.
That'll kit out an army, like
100
the whole
troops.
damn thing.
One second, while you're talking, talk about your thing, and I'm just going to check something real quick. I want to check something.
Like this box gives you so many models,
You said 100,
so
right?
many options.
Yeah, I said 100.
100 models
All right,
for
here.
145 bucks.
I'm gonna check Uncosa that because we didn't make a list, but I'm gonna pull something up here. Troops, Auxilia Infantry Tercio. I don't know what the hell that means, but whatever.
So
And
a
then,
tercio is up to 3 units in one troop slot.
oh, for
It's
fuck's
like
sake.
it's like old school guard building
Okay,
platoons.
okay. So
You don't
100
have to
dude.
have 3.
So
The basic
it
unit
comes.
is 20 lasgun dudes,
Oh,
and
it's
then you have to have
10.
at least one
Not
per
20. It's
tercio.
10. I'm trying to make it. I'm trying to make it bigger, but I
No,
can
no,
only
no,
make
no.
it 10.
The infantry unit is 20 lasguns, and they have a special rule to split down into 2 squads of 10 for Zone Mortalis.
Am I
The
stupid?
infantry section is 20. The
Oh,
flavor
I'm doing the
section
storm
is
section. Get
10.
stupido.
All
That's
this,
why I'm
yeah,
doing.
that's why.
I'm doing. Yeah, I'm doing the
The
storm
infantry
section. I'm
section
like,
is 20. That's your basic las rifle one,
so
which
funny
by
enough,
the way is
that's
a
the chips.
30-inch las gun.
So
Um,
20, 20, 40,
they
60,
do a storm section with power axes, which is always funny. Just run up
80.
and whack a Terminator in the face with a power axe,
So
split their visor open.
each squad of 20 is 100 points. Each squad of two. Oh my god, that's only that. That's only 100. Jesus Christ. But each squad of
Yeah.
infantry of 20 infantry is 100 points. But that's without any like upgrades. Like I didn't give them. They could take a bunch. I didn't get them blast charges. I didn't upgrade the sergeant. So let's say again blast charges. Let's give the blast. Let's give
It's not
him.
going to add that much.
Oh yeah, it's actually not gonna
What
add that much.
does add up more is if you look at the storm sections and the flamer sections.
Yeah.
So I believe that the Eisenkern box has some special weapons that could fit in for the flame section. I think the storm
See,
section.
I have it
No, I'm
open right
not.
now.
Yeah.
Eisenkorn
The
Penjagger. It looks like they just have machine guns on these guys. Let me see. Look at their weapons. It looks like they just have machine guns. Let me see. That's the Panzerjäger. Let's see the stormtroopers. Uh, yeah, it looks like they have machine guns as well. But still,
okay, so maybe no flamers, but
a
still,
hundred
like,
dudes, a hundred
yeah,
dudes. So each shit, I got each squad of 20 is 100, right? So how many points
yeah.
is
So
that?
5 points a model.
So
So
then
500 points for
a
100
hundred dudes,
bucks.
and then you fill out the rest with tanks like Lehman Russ's.
Yep, because they could
So
take Lehman
150 bucks.
Russ's as fast attack and heavy support, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
They could
So
take a transport that's basically a Lehman Russ combined end to end with a Chimera. So you could have a Demolisher cannon troop transport, which is disgusting. But that's a resin model, and it makes people sad. But yeah, no, like you could do an infantry swarm army with this, with some tank support, and it looks amazing. Oh my god, the models are gorgeous. Even
So
even
I'm
these third
crafting a
party
list while
models
you're
work great.
talking. I'm literally
hmm
crafting a list while you're talking. It's like
They have this phenomenal unit called the Charonite Ogryn Squad. If you thought that Ogrins were big mean motherfuckers, oh shit, you ain't seen nothing. Charonite Ogrins are bigger. Dan, can you pull up Charonite Ogrins on your computer real fast? I don't have.
absolutely.
I
I'm
want to say
actually
it's
adding them to the 1,000
toughness
points.
6.
Although I'm already at
There you go.
1320. I already got to 1325. Whoops.
Yeah.
Just remove that and remove that. They were 935. So real quick, before we talk about the Charonite Ogrins, you can get yourself a box of Ogrins for 30 bucks. 150 for the 100 Marines. So that's 108. We're at 180 right now. One Lemon Rust tank for how much are those?
55, 60, I want to say.
So 180 plus 55, 60 is what? We're looking at $230.
30?
No, that's it. 200. So
Oh, no.
935 for $230. I think that's cheaper than Custodies.
Well, so here's the Charonite Ogrins. They're bigger than normal Ogrins.
Oh God damn it!
So I'm
You
not
had to
sure that's a
throw the
good
wrench in.
sub. I'm sorry. I just had to talk about how beautiful they are because they're such a.
Let me see what
fun
they look
unit.
like on Forge World and if they can be.
They're so big.
No, those Ogrins are.
Those are
You can.
bigger than normal Ogrins. They're a head taller.
Oh really? Oh shit!
Yeah. Do they still have Minotaurs in Sigmar?
Yes, of course they do.
I wonder if those might be a good substitute because I think Minotaurs were bigger than what's it called?
Ogrins, they are.
Right?
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
I own
So if
Minotaurs.
you get some Minotaurs, those might fit in
Point
nicely.
is,
And that's a cool Rogue Trader
yeah,
throwback where they
listen.
had Space Minotaurs.
Point is, I made a 935 point list for 230 bucks.
Yeah,
pretty good.
that's
Maybe
fair.
250. That's actually not bad. So yeah, Dreamforge Games. Oh, sorry, they're defunct. I apologize. Not Dreamforge Games.
War Games Atlantic.
War Games Atlantic has their stuff. And it's under Iron Core. But yeah, no, I didn't realize it's actually that cheap. Okay. See, I'm looking at Forge World here. I'm like, God damn, that's expensive as hell to buy. But third party wins again, I guess. Oh my god, the flavor section looks really cool though. I'm not gonna lie. God damn. Look at the fucking flavor section.
Yeah, no, Bulgors would definitely fit in nicely. That's the Minotaurs.
Can't believe that they're that tall. I didn't realize.
Dude, they're massive.
They're very
those
big
Charonite
models.
Ogrins.
I would love to see them in person. I didn't realize they were that big. What? Do you know the base size? Let me see here. No, of course, it doesn't tell me the freaking base size.
Only mainline GW tells you base sizes, I think, which is
No,
a shame.
sometimes Forge World does. It looks like a 40 mil though, which is weird because it doesn't look much bigger. Oh, I guess because a Bulgor's only about up to the shoulders. Oh, not a Bulgor, a Organ is only about to the shoulders, so a Minotaur is bigger. That's really cool. All right. I'll give props where props are due. They do look cool though. But sorry, we went off on a huge tangent again. But if you do want to start Solar Auxilia, just you could cheaply do. By the way, the HQ for Solar Auxilia, the way I made it so cheap was also because I took a tank commander. The tank commander sits in the Lehman Russ. Exactly.
yeah.
So you don't even need to buy a freaking model for the HQ. He's the tank commander. He sits in a Lehman Russ. So good job, I guess. Yeah, so not bad. Yeah, it's actually you know what? I've never looked at Solar Auxilia at all in Heresy, but now that first of all, it's a lot of choices too. Holy shit! Just their goddamn heavy support. They fucking take squads of everything. You want squads of Lehman Russ tanks? Go ahead. You want squads of Malcadors? Sure. Fucking insane. Crazy. What was the other one we didn't talk about? I feel like there was one
Imperial
more.
Knights.
Oh yeah.
So I've heard rumors that they're massively changing up how you write a list for Imperial Knights. So I don't know if I want to get into it too much. But let's see, what can I break down? The way it works, as mentioned last time, is you buy a knight and you put a pilot inside of the knight. Imperial Knights are also a skew army, so I would not go in like I'm going to build an Imperial Knight army. It's in a weird spot balance wise. Not that they're broken, but it's just like either they crush or they get crushed.
All right.
I would probably
Someone has the anti-tank
1,000
or someone
points.
does not have the anti-tank is basically what happens.
Exactly. If you lean more into armigers, it's less offensive to deal with, and honestly, probably more fun to play because armigers gives you more pieces to move on the table. So I want to say an armiger is about 150 points a model. That sound right, Dan?
I can pull it up right now. Keep talking and I will literally pull it
By the
up for
way,
you.
armiger rules are
Oh,
free
yeah,
to
they're
download
completely
on the
different.
Games
Yeah.
Workshop website. Go to Warhammer Community, downloads 30K, scroll down and search. You're going to find a section that gives rules for various Imperial Knight units. It gives you the basic armigers, so that would be the Helverin and the Warglaive for 40K rolled together into one beautiful package where you could customize weapons you take. And you could also bring the Dominus, which is the bigger than a big boy, smaller than a Forge World big boy knight. They are scary, scary things. If you want to double up on harpoons, you could do that. If you want to double up on flamers, you could do that. Plasma
So,
flamer, go for it.
how do you want to arm these armigers?
So I would arm them as the kits come for simplicity purposes. So
So actually, here
a
I'll make it easy for
multi-melta
you.
dreadnought
Yep.
and double autocannons.
So here I'll make it easy for you. Their melee, they're 150. So the Scion Auxilia, sorry, I should have put, is 175 points, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, hold on, I got to do math here. Even though I'm 2, yep, 350. So the Scion Auxilia is 175 points. That's on top of the Talon that is 150 points, and then the Thermal Spear is 10 points for each one you take, and the Dreadnought and the Autocannon is 15 points for each one you take.
So it's like
So 2 Armiger
Okay.
Talons are 325.
okay, so that's 2 armigers are 325.
Yep.
Okay, so for 1,000 points, your list is literally 1 normal Imperial Knight with weapons of choice and 1 box of armigers.
Yep. Pretty much.
You might get told, no, I don't want to play you, but if this is really something you want to do, there you go, Imperial Knights. That's a list you could run. It's not good.
Ironically, it's not even
It's
that cheap, by the way. We'll,
oh
we'll
god.
point,
No,
I
those are
will
expensive
point that
kits.
out. Yeah.
It's like 225, 250, something like that.
So, yeah, it's
Because
yeah.
the Knights are now 157.
They're
The
also
arms
going
are
up in
75.
price
Oh
because
yeah,
GW
GW price.
released the
That's some
yeah.
news. Woo!
That's not please.
5%
I'm
increase
already
on most
mad as it is.
baskets. Don't. It's okay. Blood Bowl's bearing the brunt of the change
Yeah,
for
it's
us.
the books are the part that bother me. The models okay 5%. Some models kind of deal. The books going up 10% means I'm not going for books anymore. Not that I was, but
Well, happy to you.
Books haven't even been good value for a while.
no.
Oh, fun fact! I know you
The
were talking
Forge
about.
World books are thicker, contain more rules content, and
So,
don't get invalidated after 1 week.
hey,
Yeah.
Steve, you want to know something funny?
Hmm?
So you know we were talking about War Games Atlantic, and I don't want you to spend your money, but I'm gonna make. You can get 35 French infantry soldiers that look like plain old militiamen for $34.
Oh, why you do this to
You could
me?
buy 3 boxes for 95. So you can have.
Oh,
Hold on, that was three.
math.
105 dudes for $100 for militia, and they
Which is
look
pretty
really good.
good.
They look really good and they're skinny. That's under French infantry. I think that was the Great War. Yeah, I put it under the Great War. Hilarious. Or you could have, oh my God, you could have the French resistance. Talk about being a militiaman. 32 partisans equipped with grease guns, Bren guns, Sten guns, grenades, pistols, and more for $34. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent again.
All right. Does that cover the options to be able to get people started?
I think
Yeah,
so.
those are decent starting points for the various factions. Basically, these are building blocks. You start with something like this, and you venture out from here.
Yeah.
But there are so many other ways to start your armies. Like these are just ideas, and like this is what it looks like more than a this is what you will buy sort of deal.
Okay. And it seems like overall
Yeah,
it gave
I
people a
think that's
good vantage point of where you can start and in terms of also cost effectiveness. It seems like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it also seems like you guys tried to go for here's an okay list and also it's not going to cost you as much. Where maybe you could have made the same amount be a lot more expensive. Potentially.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we try to like in theory, I could have cut out another squad of veterans and given every single veteran in the squad that for the Space Marine list a power weapon. But first of all, that's not in the box itself.
Yeah.
And second of all, it's not going to be good when you're playing it. So, we try to hit a balance of this is an affordable entry price point, and this is a list you could run and not feel bad.
Yeah. Don't build bad lists.
Yeah, and even for me, like I looked at the starter boxes and I said basically, all right, what comes in the starter box? How can I literally convert this to a 30 army? And it, like I said, it's super easy sometimes.
I mean, if you're listening to Dan's number breakdown earlier, you could actually build an entire 500 point Zone Mortalis army from one box of Custodies.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
literally.
you just copy paste that army 2 more times. A 1,500 point regular
For
army.
fuck's sake, the HQ. I mean, I
Or
didn't even
you
tool
just
them
take
out that
3 of the
much.
HQ. Just
The
take
HQ
3
is
of the
fucking
HQ,
250 points,
and that's
and
yeah,
even that customized. God damn it, Custodies.
yeah. So like, it's not unobtainable, and we didn't get to things like like third-party upgrades. Like Spellcrow makes a ton of stuff. There's 3D printing options out there. Like
Oh my God. For demons, I've been looking at whatchamacallit, Creature Caster.
Yeah.
That's what I've been
yeah,
looking
like
at.
there's so many ways to do 30K. It's not just Space Marines. There's so many third-party options for things that aren't Space Marines. Like it's not as high of a barrier to entry as people make it out to be.
It used to
And I
be.
think that more people, it used to be, but not
It used to be
nowadays.
all resin. Yeah, it used to be all resin. It used to be a huge barrier of entry. And I'll admit that it used to suck. Because he'd be like, hey, you want to start 30K? Well, here's like $300 how to start a small fucking army. It sucked. But honestly, you could still find, and Steve will correct me here, sometimes in the older game shops, you can still find some Battle of Cal,
Yeah.
right? Battle of Calth?
Betrayal at Calth, Burning of Prospero.
Yeah,
Every now and then one turns up and someone gets very lucky.
yeah. You find those. That's a gold mine right there. That comes with how many Marines in it for plastic?
30 basic Marines, 5 Terminators, a couple HQs, and either some Custodies and Sisters or a Dreadnought,
There we
depending
go.
on which box set it is. Yeah. Rules. Just want to touch on which books you need for which army.
Yep.
Of
Super
course.
fast, because I don't think we actually
This,
mentioned
this will
that
be
before.
quick.
No.
This will be fairly fast.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So you're gonna want the core rulebook. You could save a lot of money though, and pick up the 7th edition rulebook. My preference is to get the small softback one that came in the starter boxes because those are probably like 15 or $20 on a bad day for eBay and such. Space Marines get the shaft for collecting their rules.
They
All
do.
Space Marines are going to need the Age of Darkness Army List book, which is not a very clear name for something. But the Age of Darkness Army List, which contains all of the generic units that the legions can take. So, your tactical squads, your land raiders, your dreadnoughts, all of that. And then on top of that, they need the book that contains their legion specific rules. Thousand Suns and Space Wolves are in book 7. Blood Angels and White Scars are in book 8. Dark Angels and Night Lords are in book 9. If you are one of those 6 legions, you have the core rules, which we could, skip out because the 7th ed rule book. Understand that a couple rules in our book is wrong, but for the most part, it's accurate. As long as you stay away from psychers, you'll be fine. $50 for the generic Legion rules, and then the black books are, I think, 75 for the paperbacks, 60 to 75 for the paperbacks, and then the hardbacks are now up to 130 for book 9. So they definitely get the shaft in terms of I want to
They
have my
do.
rules.
Yeah.
Imperial Knights, you could actually run an army almost not requiring a book. But Solar Auxilia, Imperial Knights, and Militia and Cults all use obviously the rule book, but their army list is in Crusade Imperialis army list. I want to say that book probably has the most army content in it because it has so many factions, and one of those factions is so insanely customizable. If you want to play a Mechanicum army, which has the 3 flavors of Tagmata, Cybernetica, and Reductor, all 3 of those kind of sub-factions are all contained in the Mechanicum Tagmata army list. So you need that and a rule book of some description. Last but not least, we have I see a note here. Sisters of Silence are contained in book 7, and then Custodies and Demons of the Ruin Storm are both contained in book 8. You will need that book as well as the core rule book. So in terms of I want to get rules for my army, the cheapest book setups are for Mechanicum, Solar Auxilia, Imperial Knights, or Militia, because it's just one book plus rulebook. Next up is Custodies and Demons of the Ruin Storm, because those are in book 8, which is in softback, which is probably about $70 plus the main rulebook. And then, like I mentioned earlier, Marines, they kind of get the shaft. Did I miss anything in there?
No. No. That was literally it.
If I did not mention your Legion, then you are going. Oh, if I did not mention your Legion, if you're not a
Yeah.
Thousand Sun, Space Wolf, Blood Angel, White Scar, Dark Angel, or Night Lord, if you're anything else, you're going to want the Age of Darkness Legions book. This contains your Legion special rules, as well as your special characters and Legion specific units. Pretty much every Legion can expect to have probably 2 special characters and 2 to 3 special units, as well as rights of war, which are army specific themes that give you your personal flavor. Most Legion specific rights of war are like sub variants of the generic ones. Okay, I think that one's everything.
You have any questions, Dave?
No, I mean, one. So, what I will say, my only question, because I did try to pull up the battle scribe to take a look at this, the files weren't showing up for me. Are they not on the normal battle scribe
So
spot?
let me ask. So I have battle scribe up right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me see here.
Apparently, the
I was using it.
files are so massive that they've
If you're doing
recently
Space Marines?
migrated to somewhere else.
No. So I was gonna say, if you're doing Space Marines, you have to give it a second to load, because when you're loading Legion Astartes, it's not just loading Legion Astartes, it's loading every single unit for Legion Astartes, and also the special rules for every Legion, and also the characters, and also the special units for everything.
That's true.
Massive. It's literally its own game. Legion Astartes, the list is its own game.
Well, more
Like,
what I
I'm
mean.
loading it
is
on my
because
computer
you
now.
can do this thing called a Shattered Legion, which lets you take multiple legions in one army.
I just opened it up on my computer and it took 10 seconds, and that's on a computer.
No,
So wait, out of curiosity, what did you open, Dave?
That is not my issue.
Yeah.
My issue is I go to Battlescribe now. I don't naturally
You can't
have
find
this
the
game.
source at all.
Yes, I
Is
can't
it called
find the source.
Horsehair?
That's what I'm talking about.
It's called it's called Warhammer 30,000. Look under Horus Heresy to add it in.
Okay, is it under? Because I
It's
looked
not
under
Warhammer.
Okay, I looked under Warhammer. It's not listed under
No,
Warhammer.
it's called Horus Heresy version 15.5.1.
Okay, that will help clear it up for people, because I would have
Yes.
had some of this going the whole time and things like that, but I wasn't sure where to find it.
Yes.
But I mean,
So
this way
for
they
those-
went through the list. I'll display
Yeah.
the list
So
that you
it's
guys talked
Horus
about.
Horus Heresy.
For those listening,
Okay.
it's called Horus Heresy on Battlescribe.
Okay.
Which
And
is
it doesn't-
weird because when you open up a roster, it says Warhammer 30,000.
30,000
Yeah.
Horus Heresy. Yep.
That's what I thought was
Yeah.
odd, because that's the way you guys were referencing it in Battlescribe. But when I looked earlier, quickly
Yeah,
before we started, I
you'll
couldn't
see
find
when
it.
you download it and you open it, it'll say Warhammer 30,000, the Horus Heresy. Yeah,
Okay.
It does that. Which is, I should point out, the Battlescribe is completely updated, and it does have all the rules as well. Not all the rules, obviously, you need the rule book. But like any of the special rules or something that your Legion may have, or the rights of war, can
The
easily be
summaries
looked
are
up on
fairly
Battlescribe.
comprehensive.
Yeah, like
And
for example, if I chose Legion of
Army
Star-
validation works great on there.
Yes.
The only thing that sucks is units like Terminators and Veterans. Each model has a line in there. So it's like, I'm taking this Marine, I'm giving him a bolter and a power sword. I have this Marine, I'm giving him a bolter and a chain sword, and you have to do that for the entire squad.
You can also duplicate.
That's just for veterans.
That's what I do. I duplicate the model, yeah. But I was going to say, when you select like your Legion and Allegiance, which I'll choose Loyalist for a second, and White Scar, it'll actually change the entire, like, not the entire thing, but it'll change what you can take. Because when you take your Rights of War, right, and I take, what the hell's the White Scar one? Chogarian Brotherhood?
Just do Pride of the Legion. It's a
Well,
nice one that everyone will
Chogarian.
understand.
It'll actually get rid of all the things that I can't take anymore. You know what I mean? And now it makes my Outrider squad troops. You know what I mean? So it's just really cool that it does that for you. Also, if you hover over Chogarian Brotherhood, it'll actually tell you all the special rules, right? So, like, for example, I can tell you that they have hit and run, that all bikes and jet bikes get hit and run. Everyone is fast. Blah, 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 right? I can literally tell you all the special rules. So I'm not going to say you don't need the books. You need the rule book at least. But I'm not going to say, where are White Scars? Book 9? What's the one? They're the same as Custodies. What's Custodies? Book 8 or book 9?
8.
8? So
Okay.
I'm not going to say that if you want to play White Scars, you need book 8. It's nice, but to be honest with you, Battlescribe has all the rules already.
That sounds great. Then
I
for
wish
people
I had a
trying to get,
video. Yeah, I wish I had a video because you'd see me shrug. Um,
you don't have a camera.
but that's yeah, exactly. I don't have a camera, but you'd see me shrug because, like, listen, I collected the Custodies book because I like collecting stuff and it looks cool and the pictures are great. But I'll be honest with you, you open a Battle Scribe, you click on the Legion White, or here, I'll even click on a Legion I don't play. So I played White Scars. Let me select the Legion I don't fucking play. Let's go to Trader and let's go to I don't know, Death Guard. I don't know. I've never played Death Guard before. Actually, I'm going to do Iron Warriors. Never played Iron Warriors, right? And this is where Steve is going to
We've
correct
killed
me.
plenty of them though.
Yeah, shut up. So I'm going to choose, um, I don't know, the Hammer of Olympia. I don't know what that is, but that sounds like a
Yeah.
right of war that they take. Now, watch this. Never played Iron Warriors, but Steve, correct me if I'm wrong. The Hammer of Olympia allows me to take vehicles with extra armor. It also, Miles of the Legion rules that are part of the Force using rights where we declare an assault after firing rapid fire weapons. All vehicles and tanks are gain extra armor for no additional cost. I could take a siege engineer, but I must take a warsmith or siege breaker as compulsory HQ choice. I must take more heavy support than fast attack. I must take an additional compulsory troop, and cannot take allied Space Marine legions. Am I correct?
Yep. You're
How
missing
many are in the
one
book?
thing we can do. You
Yeah,
get an extra
wait,
heavy support slot as well.
yep. So fun. Oh, yeah, it says that. I just kind of skipped it. But yeah, see, I don't.
Oh, okay.
I've never played Iron Warriors. Don't have the book in front of me at all. So I'm using Steve as kind of like my make sure I'm right. But I just hovered over the rule Hammer of Olympia and it gives me everything.
How about
You know what I
their
mean?
generic, like their Legion-wide rules? Can you look at those real fast on there?
Let's see. So I go here. I go. Oh my god! I selected White Scars and Death Guard all at the same time. Hold on. There we go. Iron Warriors. Can I?
Yep.
If I hover over this, oh yeah. So apparently, the Iron Warriors to the bitter end. In games which would normally have a random game length, the Iron Warrior opponent can opt to play 6 full turns. Or sorry, the opponent can opt to play 6 full turns instead of the roll at the end of the game. I can also units with special rule may also attempt to regroup at their normal leadership value. That's about it. Oh,
Well, there
apparently
should
I don't
be.
take. I also don't take leadership checks for being shot in the shooting phase.
Yep. And we also get a bonus to use grenades to blow up fortifications. It never
Yeah,
comes up, but we have
I
it.
saw that and I rolled my eyes. I just skipped that over.
Yeah.
But no. So
But no, like it's on Battlescribe.
yeah,
You could learn a lot through Battlescribe.
literally, I'm like again. Let me see if they have white scars. White scars. Yep, skilled rider and swift action and the eye of the storm. Yeah, so literally whatever you want. Like again, I don't even play. What's another army you play, Steve? So I can prove a point here.
I've
Well,
made
I think you
demo
proved the
armies for
point.
Salamanders,
Oh,
Night
prove the point. Okay,
Lords,
yeah,
and
Yeah.
Dark
like
Angels.
yeah. So like even salamanders, I don't play,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
word bears, I don't play. And it just gives me all the shit. So yeah, it's
Um,
pretty cool.
Let's writing philosophy. You want a mix of anti-infantry, anti-heavy infantry, and anti-vehicle weapons.
Yeah, this is not a game where you could spam 40k. This is not a game where you could spam whole units and do well. You
Bolters
need
literally
everything.
cannot kill a Land Raider.
Hell, they can't even kill a
Um,
Rhino's armor 12, right? Or no, it's armor 11.
11 front, 11 side,
Yeah.
10 rear. So they could
So you can't even
technically
kill a Rhino from
kill
the
a
front.
Rhino, but
Yeah.
only from the rear. If you want to kill a Land Raider, you need something that's at least strength 8, preferably strength 9 or 10. Lots of units have immunity to the Melt a Special rule. So basically, what I'm saying is don't just take bolters, have a nice mix of weapons. Have some plasma guns to kill Terminators, have some melta guns to kill, honestly, medium tanks. Have some las cannons or demolisher cannons to kill big tanks. Or chain fists, or melta
Because some
bombs.
people are like, let's see, what gets spammed at 40k? Oh, so
Most
since I
things.
play Custodies, I got you here. Um, so in Custodies, people spam bikes now because the bikes are really good, right? You could spam bikes in 30k for 115 points a model. And so when they jink, so jink means that they get like a cover save of 4 plus, right? If they jink, now they're only hitting on 6s. Congratulations. Your 115-point model that's supposed to do anti-tank can't do anti-tank anymore. You've played yourself. So you
Yep.
cannot you like you can't spam models. You can't. It just doesn't work. You have to take you're almost forced to take a balanced list.
All right. So
That's
it
about
sounds
it.
like to
Cover
me,
it?
what
Yeah.
if someone actually wants to get into it, it's the easiest way. Grab some models. Ideally, grab some stuff you already have if you're just trying it out. Take a look, build your list on Battlescribe, and then it sounds like you can at least get most of the way there with the 7th Ed rulebook, which you can pick up for cheap. Again, there's some alterations, but at least let
Yup.
you get a feel for the game, see what you think, and then you can decide if you actually want to invest in both armies and books.
Yep. Sounds about right.
Yeah. The 7th Ed things that changed are the psychic powers, and a couple disciplines got tweaked because they were a little abusable.
Mm-hmm.
Invisibility.
And then Skyfire and Interceptor, their interaction got changed. And then every model in a squad can use a grenade in close combat, not just one. Those are the biggest changes. Everything else is super minor, and maybe it's going to come up.
All right. Yeah, it would at least be
And
able to
half
give
those
you a
are
feel
corner
if you
cases
like the
too.
game.
Exactly. Like,
Okay.
you could get by without investing too bad.
I should put out the Forge World rulebook is not actually that expensive. I was looking it up because
It's
I
cheaper
actually
than the 40K rulebook.
yes, it is. So I was just gonna say, damn it, took the fucking words out of my mouth. God damn it. No, it is cheaper. I actually don't own the rulebook. I actually have it on my iPad as an iBook. Someone correct me if I'm
So you
wrong.
just have a digital copy.
I have a digital copy for $50. Cheaper than the normal rulebook. 50
What's-
bucks got me the rulebook.
What's the
Done.
normal rulebook cost?
Yeah,
62.
62.
62.
All right. I don't know.
And I think
Compared to 75 for 40K.
70. Yeah, it is 75.80 for 40K.
Oh wow. Oh, the rulebook
And
was that
fun
much.
fact, if you do pick up the rulebook, because it's a new rulebook, it's actually just got published out, 1 or 2 years ago. If you do pick up the
2 years
rulebook,
ago.
2 years ago, it actually does have, like, there are no 40K models in it. The original Horus Heresy rulebook didn't really have great pictures. The new rulebook that came out 2 years ago, excellent rulebook. It's got beautiful pictures, it's got beautiful diagrams, and they're all using 30K models. They're not using any 40K models in the picture, which was a big problem with the last one. Like, you'll see, like, Mark II armor in a picture doing charges, or when they talk about armor value, they'll use like an old Demos pattern, Predator. So just little side note about the rulebook. It is an actual like 30K rulebook, which is nice. And Dave, you have anything else to like ask or add?
No, I don't think so. I mean, overall, obviously I'd have to take a look at the Battlescribe to get it, but the list makes sense. The sources and all of that makes sense. The game itself would actually be something I'd have to sit down and actually try out to figure out, which can definitely be done at some point, because you have space, and betwixt the two of you, there's plenty of armies to try out. So maybe we'll probably
5 armies between the two of us.
yeah. This is
Also,
probably
Tabletop Simulator.
Yes,
that
also
is true.
tabletop simulator.
Actually, that's so we can just probably do it one of these days on TTS. We'll just record it and we'll post it up on the YouTube channel like
Yeah.
we did for 40K.
Sounds good. I like that.
Yeah, because I personally would like to start doing some recordings in person, but we got to get some more equipment for that. So that's going to be a little bit of time before any of that happens. But TTS is a good option for now, especially with potentials of needing to isolate and all of that.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think I have any other questions. It made, when you reference back to this particular rule set and all, this is a rule set at least I'm familiar with to an extent. I'm not familiar with some of the ways that you build these particular armies, but if it's all in Battlescribe, that means you can go through, you can see how it actually works, and you can test out different factions, especially when it comes to any form of Space Marine. You can test out the different factions before you actually make a commitment. Most people, if you're listening to this, I would venture a guess that most people who listen to this probably have played 40K, and if you play 40K, most people have at least one Space Marine army. I don't currently, but I did, but a lot of people do. So that means you could have some models, just counts as until you figure out what you like. Then actually go in and, then you can actually make your purchases. But no, I think I'm good. Anything else, gentlemen?
No, I mean it's a fun. I'll close out with saying, at least for me, I love 30K. I actually, and I hate to say it like this, I actually like it over 40K. I don't hate 40K. I think the biggest problem with 40K right now is just, as everyone feels it, the arms race and the wound race and then the invulnerable race and now the ignore invulnerable race. It's getting too much. It's almost like 40K has to reset a little bit back to like 6th edition or 7th edition without the formations, please, without the fucking formations.
Yeah.
But I feel like there needs to be a
Thank
reset with
God.
40K
No
because
formations.
I mean, we were playing a little kind of spoiler. We were playing Khorne versus Necrons,
Yep.
and I looked at my Bloodthirster, and he did D6 damage. Originally, he did D6 damage. Now, back in the days of 8th edition, that was wow, oh my fucking god, he does D6. But I had to take a relic on him to do D6 and min 3. So he always did 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5, 6 damage. Or I had to take a Bloodthirster to take a relic that does D3 plus 3 damage, but there's only one of those. Whereas Custodies can take bikes that just each one does D3 plus 3 damage. So there's like an arms race going on in 40K, and it doesn't feel good. Like, I play Custodies, and Custodies right now are beating everything.
Yes.
That doesn't feel good. I don't want to play an army that I take to a table and someone goes, oh my god, fuck, I don't want to play with you.
There is, what I will say, there is to some extent options you can take. So if you're playing against, a random person, not playing in a tournament, like you don't take Trajan. He's automatically out. There's other options you avoid, but it's still only going to curb you so much.
Yeah, it's good. I cannot curb it all the way is the problem, especially with Custodies. Even like I could say, all right, I'm not going to play with stratagems. Then that's the way to curb. I'm not going to play with the rules of my army. That's not great. You don't want to do that. And 30K kind of doesn't do that. Like, sure, you can build kill squads or what are they called? What do we call them? Death balls.
Death Stars.
Death Stars. You can build Death Stars in 30K almost very easily. Death balls, but a fucking 3 Medusas hit them in the face and they're gone. You know,
Death Stars and all was an idea in older editions of 40K, and to some extent, alterations aside, to some extent, this is just essentially older edition 40K, where you're building different army lists. I think one of the main problems that 40K has now is that with how many factions they have out, it takes so long to be able to update everything, and that's what causes this discrepancy. So when I compare some of your, maybe one of your tanks or maybe your Telemon or something like that has a flat damage characteristic, and maybe it's a damage 3 or 4 or 2 on the weapon, but has a flat one, so it has some predictability. Or some of the bigger ones now, some of the Tau have, you have this number plus maybe a D3 or a D6, so you have a flat with maybe a little extra, so there's some variance in there. When I look at the Necron, when I look at the I can't remember his name now. The big tall guy.
The tripod worker?
No. The Doom Stalker. For the Doom Stalker, the problem is, it's purely random shots on D6. Okay, that doesn't feel great because you could roll 1 or roll 6. His ballistic skill being a 4-up, there's ways to improve it. Okay, that's just part of the model. But his damage, if he gets through, because if he's doing the I didn't move, his his attack is strength 10. That's really good. I'm going to wound tons of things on 2s, or at worst usually 3s. AP -5, that means if you don't get an invul save, essentially you're not getting a save, but it's D6 damage. D6 damage can be good or terrible, and it doesn't feel good because even if you get a few through, there's no reliability to that.
It used to be good. D6 damage used to be the thing.
Because everyone had that.
I mean, for fuck's sake, when Custodies again, I played Custodies for 5 years. When Custodies came out with D3 damage in 8th edition, it was the fucking world ender. Now, mind you, Custodies weren't the best in 8th edition. They sucked balls, actually. They were like B tier at most until the Psychic Awakening came out. No, but like Psychic Awakening is what kind of buffed them a little bit.
Yeah.
But D3 damage was like, holy shit, you don't want to get into close combat. Yeah. Then when 9th edition rolled down, D3 damage was like, fucking D3 damage. Who gives a shit?
Well, like, the reason D3 damage became so meaningless is because they started giving flat damage to newer stuff. I'm not
and -1 reduction.
Yeah. Well, reduction aside, the reduction part doesn't really matter. Okay. I mean, don't get me wrong, that is something, and there's models that have it, but that's not like army wide. There's, it's not.
It is for Tyranids now.
It is for Tyranids and Nurgle.
Death Guard.
Okay, yeah. So you do have some armies with it, so that's the thing. So maybe that's why they went to flat damage. Maybe that was some consideration. But I think it's when you look at some of these older books, when everyone had D3, D6, then everyone is equal. The variance is terrible, and I don't like that idea. But everyone's equal. Now you have a newer book, I'm not sure which book they started this. Now you have flat damage where people who have older books still have the D3, D6. So where you have reliability, I completely lack that. And like you said, now, if there is this damage reduction, that and I have no problem with that. That's part of the rules, and that probably makes it feel a bit worse for the potential random as well. Like I said, your random could be better, but over enough, if you can't rely on what you're going to do, it's not going to feel better even when you happen to roll a couple of those 6s. But we'll see. That's why I go back and forth. I like some of the stuff in Necrons, but I also like Tyranids, but we'll see. They're supposed to be getting a new book. I kind of don't want to do anything until I see what that book looks like. We'll see. All right. Since we have started to change topics here, I think we'll close out for the night. Which oddly enough, without doing the real news segment, the episode was probably almost as long as when we do the news segment with something else. So, when I give them more time to talk about this, they don't talk for less.
Oh, absolutely not.
No, yeah. I blame you entirely, by the way. This is all your fault.
Right, him or me?
Definitely not me.
Hey, I get to sit here. I got some paint on a model. I get to listen to some interesting stuff and have you guys go back and forth and explain this. So it works well for me. I do want to thank everyone for listening. I do want to start asking if you are listening, if you are enjoying the content that we do put out. If you're looking on YouTube, subscribing, things like that really helps out. If you're listening on any podcatchers, especially iTunes and all, reviews definitely help out. Helps people find us. Oddly enough, one of the things gives me stats. Stats. I like what I see, but it would be, very appreciative and very helpful if you do those sorts of things. As for next week, I think we're going to try to get back to Titanicus as the current plan. We might also put out some news because, again, we want to try to maybe start separating that out a little bit. And I know 40K has had a good amount of news, both in terms of price hikes and do either of you know about their I forget the name of the thing, but it's essentially they'll send you like a magazine every week. It used to only be available in England, but now it's available in other spots to kind of teach you how to
Imperial
build
magazine?
up 40K, and they send you models and stuff.
No, I didn't see this.
Yeah.
Imperial magazine, yeah.
Yeah. It was only available there. We can discuss it next time because I don't have it in front of me, and I wouldn't want to talk about it without seeing all the details. But I was listening to about that, and they've had more news. Like I said, Legion has some news, so maybe we'll do a separate news segment and all.
Fuck, I really hate the fact that they're doing Ewoks because it kind of makes me want to do an army.
You're gonna need to.
Hoping.
I will say there is currently no word, as far as I have seen, on when. And I think in the current climate, one, they're not going to tell us when unless it's imminent, because that's just general procedure. Yeah. But also with what's going on, for all we know, is maybe they were supposed to come out by now. Maybe they just got delayed. Maybe, so it could be later this year. Maybe it's next year. I'm not really sure. There's a few things we know for Legion that are coming out this year, and we have some time frames of that. But we'll go into that at another point, especially when I have some of the figures in front of me. But, all right, on behalf of everyone here, we want to thank you for listening and have some good gaming.